Welcome the three wise men. Look, Wondercraft was absolutely moving, but I want to ask you, do you always do investment banking for good?
You do it?
Yeah, that's loud enough so that people can hear me, right? Yeah, we are a different investment bank. That's for sure. So that everybody knows, and I'm sure that you don't, over the past 25 years, we have raised 11 billion euros
11 billion.
for companies like Wondercraft, for companies that are actually basically doing good, on healthcare, environment, and so on. 11 billion.
That's a lot.
That's a
Turning to you, Olivier.
Shoot.
What was the picture when you launched Brian Garnier
Well,
5 years ago?
it was quite easy to foresee the future. The US ecosystem was huge, and nothing was really here in Europe 25 years ago. So the need for a new breed of investment bank based really on 4 pillars. First one, I would say, would be deep tech expertise. We saw that for Wondercraft. So you really need to understand the technology. Secondly, you needed to be a one-stop shop, i.e., you can't back those wonderful entrepreneurs by only doing M&A or IPO or private fundraising. You really need to offer the whole spectrum. Thirdly, you need to be global. All those businesses are very global, very Europe, very US, even Asia. So you need to, from the scratch, to be very global. And fourth, it needs to be partner-owned. We own the bank, which is so important in terms of the culture. We take the risk. We do the same like our entrepreneurs' companies. So, and all that, in a way, was very unique and is still very unique in Europe. That's a big reason of our success.
Very clear. Greg, we heard the vision at the time. How did it unfold?
Yeah, I think what happened is that we took part in mostly 3 waves. There was the first digitalization, the software wave in the 90s. Then we had the biotech and biopharma wave starting in the early 2000s. And actually, between 96, 99, what was what?
Yeah, 99, 2000.
And 201. There had been, during 6 years, no IPOs at all, no IPOs on Euronext. And actually, this guy...
In biotech.
No biotech. He did the 2 first offering after 6 years without any funding. So yeah, it's for sure. So biotech was the second one, and then it was a clean tech. Now, technology is everywhere.
Sure.
So, in environment, in health, in everything that counts, so it's the way it's unfolded. That's where we are today.
Clear. Back to you, Olivier. You were a very successful investment banker at Goldman Sachs. Why did you feel the need, though, to go out and create your own investment bank?
Well, look, I was blessed, very lucky, very fortunate to be in the best seat, at the best time, in the best place.
And maybe a bit mad.
Yeah, which was Goldman, entering the European field. So being a banker for Goldman between New York and London, you can't have it better. A very inspirational place. And so I learned all what really made me desire one day to build an investment bank. To make a long story short, I was 34 a touch wild, as, as most of my friends here remember, and really always seeking to do it my way. So that's it.
Your way.
So, Olivier, we know who the Garnier is in Brian Garnier. What about the Brian?
Shelby Brian. I'm too close to you, no?
So yeah,
Shelby was the typical high-octane Texan investment banker, Morgan Stanley. He made his money as a true pioneer of the telecom industry. And he was one of our big clients at Goldman. Summer 95, we recall very well, he and I shook hands and said, why don't we start our bank? And this is Shelby, very strong mindset, attitude of just do it, yes we can. 4 months after, we had all our licenses, and we were a bank, starting out of Mayfair, London.
And so, eventually...
And he had to go back to the US. So, really, he was a very inspiring founder. Very.
So, why did you decide to keep his name on the door?
Yeah, that's a good one. When my father was a big sailor, and I can only remember him always saying, never change the name of a boat, brings bad luck.
Okay, thanks for explaining.
Greg, you know, from what I understand, you were a very successful private equity VC guy in the scene all over Europe when you met Olivier. Why did you give up all that to join Brian Garnier?
Yeah, I was not that successful. I was very young, though.
Okay. You were hardworking.
You know, and I actually didn't join Olivier to become a banker. It was obviously an entrepreneurial project. So I was 28 at that time, and I started to work pretty early, you know, basically in 91. And so during those first 7 years, I had been very active in the venture capital and in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. I launched one of the very first pre-IPO fund in Europe, and I was part as a shareholder of ISDAC, the European NASDAQ. And I met during this, at that time, a number of friends or relationship with whom we launched a bank, which was institutional backed, called Quartz. And Quartz was focusing on technology and growth. Guess what? Very similar target than Brian Garnier, sure. But it was institutionally backed.
Yep.
And one day I came across Olivier at a conference. We were side by side. I was with Quartz, and he came to me and he talked to me about Brian Garnier, the project. And then I realized that, okay, there's a difference here. You know, you're going to be an entrepreneur if you join the guy. You're not going to be working for institutions anymore. And so, you know, I jumped ship and I joined Olivier, and it's been 25 years. You know?
And what did you think of young Greg when you saw him?
You start a bank, we were less than 10. How can you not be seduced by a guy called Greg Revenu? Revenue. So, and I've spent more time with Greg than with my wife.
Cliff.
Sorry, Jim.
To be serious, to understand those fast-growing companies, you need to go to the bottom.
Sure.
And you can only do that when companies are private. After that, with the public light, it's too fast. So that's where I figured out that I could make good use of Greg's sharp brain.
Very clear. Cliff, I want to turn to you. So I want to hear how you, I mean, Cliff, you were the CEO of Jefferies International. I mean, you built that machine outside of the US. You were vice chairman of Stifel, building that in Europe. Why did you, or when did you, or how did you decide to come on to Bryan Garnier and be our chairman?
Well, first of all, it's very hard to turn down Olivier Garnier. He's very persuasive.
Many people would agree with that.
But seriously, you know, as you mentioned, I had the good fortune to be involved with the buildup of Jefferies in Europe, from really just a trading operation to a global banking business, and to be involved with the build out of Stifel as it also became a pan-European banking franchise. And these experiences helped me understand how underbanked the growth sector in Europe really was.
Right.
And just looking at Bryan Garnier, I just saw this enormous upside because of the fact that there's really no one doing what we do.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, in addition to Olivier, that's what attracted me to Bryan Garnier.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Cliff. I remember that.
So, Olivier, Bryan Garnier has accomplished a lot in the last 25 years. What are you most proud of?
Good question, Jennifer. Pride is such a driver. I mean, I hate to say, but more seriously, it's all about, first of all, of course, facts. We grow from a two-man shop in Mayfair to 250 people, one office to 8 offices, 0 to 100 million. That's success. So I'm very proud for the team. Secondly, it's a question of the culture. The culture from 2 to 250 has stayed the same. A lot of passion, a lot of curiosity, and a lot of meaning. We're interested by what we do, from Vandercraft to hydrogen. It's more fun to finance an hydrogen company than a coal mine, right? In 2022. So this is really what took me, and I should say, the incredible pride I had in working with many super talented entrepreneurs in Scandinavia, in the UK, in France, in Switzerland, in Germany. What a blessing. And I should even add the two saviors of the world, i.e. Ugur Sahin and Stéphane Bancel, both founders of BioNTech and Moderna, that really saved our world.
Very impressive.
Greg, how about you? What are you most proud of?
You know, I think it's the relentless quest for innovation. You know, what's next?
Sure.
The next frontier, the curiosity with it, and you know, it was obviously the biotech and biopharma, and we were the first, basically, to publish research by far in Europe or in the US on mRNA, way before everybody was talking about, you know, obviously COVID vaccines, and you know, that's led us to basically raise more than 2 billion of capital for companies like Moderna and BioNTech, amongst others, including Valneva, for example, for the COVID vaccines. You know, and another example is that 20 years ago, software was something which was very new for investors.
Here in Europe.
Yeah, especially for buyout investors, private equity world. You know, you had a bunch of tech investors in the US, but not that much in Europe, tech buyout funds. And you know, we really helped a lot of private equity investors enter this software and SaaS market, and globally the technology market. Overall, we've made more than 200 buyout transactions in the technology space over the past 25 years. That's a lot. And the last thing is, you know, being at the frontier of the new technologies that basically are addressing critical issues, especially from an environmental standpoint. We were the first to back an hydrogen company public.
Yep.
It was 7 years ago. Nobody was talking about that. We were the first to start to work on proteins. We were the first to work on plastic recycling. We did the first IPO of a plastic recycling company.
Sure.
So those
RBS.
are super important domains and which are key today. So I think that's this relentless quest for innovation.
So, Cliff, what do you think makes Brian Garnier so unique?
Well, I have to say my initial impression of Brian Garnier was formed a number of years ago when I first met Olivier and a few of the partners at Brian Garnier. And at that stage, I was very impressed with just the drive and culture of the business. But then now that I've been inside the business for almost 2 years, I really see in BG the key ingredients of what I call, success in this business, which are creativity, entrepreneurial flair, and real passion for clients and the sectors that we work in. And I think that these are the major differentiating factors. But equally important, I can say, is that one of the things that's really important in BG is that we have fun together. People like working together.
Yes.
And this really creates an incredible amount of energy and a joie de vivre. Olivier asked me to put some French in my speech, so I figured I'd have to. And this just permeates the organization and makes it just a wonderful place to work.
And Cliff, what would you say is the next chapter for Brian Garnier? And speak into the mic.
Well, I think it's really just following the plan. I think the blueprint is there in terms of what we have to do. Personally, look, we're in healthcare and technology. The next major area of conquest for us is to have more connectivity in the United States, and to find ways to meet more companies, meet more investors, and that's going to be one of my goals over the next few years, is help to broaden the horizon of the firm, along with you and I as Americans in the firm.
Greg?
Yeah, I would say, as always, it's growth and growth and growth and growth.
Yep.
And technology has become really mainstream. It's been diffused in all the sectors of the economy. So we're so fortunate that whatever the cycles are, whatever the volatility of the market is, healthcare, technology, and environmental challenges are there for a very, very long time.
Final words?
Final, time's up. No. Shh. Silence. More words. Final words. So, final words?
Final words.
1, 2, 3. 1, we won't change our culture. What we saw about, the DNA of Brian Garnier, regardless of our size. And I really hope we're going to grow much bigger. 2, twice more partners. There are only 15 of us, so more partners, please join us. We need power, influence, and thirdly, there's so much happening, much more clients, 3 times more clients. With this, will be so many that hopefully next time we'll invite you next door. I've heard people saying, why the Petit Palais? We want the Grand Palais. Okay, so that's in 5 years. And now really the last, I'm going to become very emotional. I want to say a big thank you. Thank you on behalf of all my partners. There are 4, but like 10 in the room. Shh. I want to thank you on behalf of all the partners. First to our families. Being the wife or children of bankers is horrible. We work too hard, too long. I want to thank our clients who are almost friends. And thirdly, I really want to thank our past and present team Without them, we wouldn't be here all together tonight. Thanks all again.